to use everyday ingredients in a smarter way.
Jezebel
And
spirit
time,
today.
you start building
Today we are
routines that feel more
checking on the Jezebel
and
spirit.
practical. That's the
And
real
let's listen in.
difference.
This is
Also,
Jezebel
just make sure you're
spirit that we are
getting the
discussing
real
today.
one. There are cheaper copies floating
We
around
are gonna listen in
those are not the same
because this is what we need to know. Previously we dealt with Leviathan. That's the spirit we dealt with previously. And today we are gonna go to Jezebel spirit.
Can identify it, confront it, and eradicate it from your life and ministry. This video, by the way, is part of a video series on spiritual warfare. I'll link the playlist at the end of this video. So let me tell you about a time when I was pastoring a church and dealing with what I suspected was a Jezebel spirit. There was a person in my church, I'll call them so-and-so, who was wreaking havoc, absolute havoc. I mean chaos, manipulation, division. I remember praying, Lord, expose what needs to be exposed, reveal what needs to be revealed, bring into the light that which is kept in darkness, which, by the way, is a great prayer to pray on a daily basis. So one day I specifically asked the Lord, is so-and-so operating in a spirit of Jezebel? I didn't get my answer right away, but that night I had a dream. And I'm going to tell you about that dream in just a moment. But first, I want to share with you the characteristics of a Jezebel spirit from Scripture so that you can understand what God revealed to me. So we're going to do a deep dive into the biblical account of Jezebel found in 1 Kings 21. Because we don't want to pull characteristics out of thin air or solely based on experience. We want it to come straight out of Scripture. So we're going to look at the story of King Ahab, Queen Jezebel, and a man named Naboth. And from this story, I'm going to show you the unmistakable traits of the Jezebel spirit so that you can recognize it when it shows up in your church, your ministry, your family, your workplace, your life. But before we go any further, I have to establish this foundational truth. We don't fight against flesh and blood. Even if there is a person in your midst who's operating through this demonic spirit, your fight is not against that person. Your battle is against the demonic spirit using that person to kill and steal and destroy you and everything that you have. This is so very important because when you're dealing with someone operating in a Jezebel spirit, you've got to separate the person from the spirit. Oh yeah, the person's causing you pain, real deep pain. Going through a church, ministry, business, family situation where there's a Jezebel spirit is incredibly painful. But to make the determination that you're going to separate the person from the demonic spirit is so important. You want the person to be saved, healed, delivered, and set free. It's the demonic spirit that you want to eradicate. So let's look at the story. It's in 1 Kings 21. King Ahab was the king of Israel. He was an Israelite. He was married to a woman named Jezebel. Now, Jezebel was a pagan Syrophoenician woman. Just means that she didn't love God, which is really important to this story. King Ahab and Queen Jezebel lived in a palace, as kings and queens do. And right next to the palace, like literally they could look out their window and see it, was a vineyard, a plot of land owned by a man named Naboth. King Ahab had his eyes set on this plot of land. He wanted it for a vegetable garden. Please remember this. This whole situation was over a stupid vegetable garden, So he approaches Naboth and says, I want your plot of land. In exchange, I'll either give you a better vineyard or I'll give you money for it. He's basically proposing a business deal with Naboth. But Naboth tells King Ahab, no, I can't sell it to you because Jewish law prevents me from doing so. This land has to be passed down to my descendants because of Jewish law. Now, can I just point out that took a lot of courage because Ahab was the king. Naboth stood up to the king of Israel and said no. So, what does Ahab do? It says Ahab went home angry and sullen because of Naboth's answer. The king went to bed with his face to the wall and refused to eat. Are you kidding me? This is over a stupid vegetable garden. Did I say that? Stupid vegetable garden. He's angry. He's refusing to eat. He's sulking. He's pouting. He's having a full-blown pity party with his face to the wall. Enter Queen Jezebel. She comes into the room and says, "What's the matter? Why are you so upset you're not eating?" And King Ahab tells her, "I asked Naboth to sell me his vineyard or trade it, but he refused." And here's where we see the Jezebel spirit in full operation. Jezebel's response is this: "Are you the king of Israel or not?" In other words, are you serious right now? You're the king. And then she says, "Get up and get something to eat, and don't worry about it. I'll get you Naboth's vineyard." Right here, we see what we call the triple threat. These are the three characteristics that, when operating together consistently in a person, strongly suggest they may be influenced by a Jezebel spirit. So write this down. Number one is control. The spirit of Jezebel is known for being controlling. Along with control comes manipulation and domination. "Don't worry your little head about it, King Ahab. I'll get it for you." She's taking control of the situation. Number two, pride. Are you the king or not? There's arrogance, there's pride. Pride says, "How dare someone tell us no?" Number three, offense. Jezebel got offended at Naboth. Listen, Jezebel didn't care about Ahab wanting a stupid vegetable garden. She didn't care about the vegetable garden. She got offended that Naboth said no to the king. When you have someone with control issues, pride issues, and they're easily offended, and I'm not talking about just occasionally. Again, I'm talking about consistently operating in these three things. You have the triple threat. This person could very possibly be influenced by the spirit of Jezebel. Now, listen, someone can have one of these characteristics and not be a Jezebel. Can't we all fall into a trap of control or pride or offense at different times? But when you have this threefold cord, this triple threat operating consistently, that's when you need to pray and say, "Lord, is this a Jezebel spirit?" By the way, would you hit the like button so that everyone who needs to watch this video will? And you know what else? Would you leave a comment? When Jezebel said, "I'll get it for you, don't worry about it," King Ahab could have said no. He could have said, "Oh, no, you're not going to handle this for me." But we see her taking control, and we see him letting it. So write this down and never forget it. A spirit of Jezebel cannot operate without an Ahab. What's an Ahab? An Ahab is a weak leader. It's a leader who either has no discernment or is afraid. Maybe Ahab was afraid of Jezebel. Maybe this was their relationship pattern where he just allowed her to take control. A spirit of Jezebel must have an Ahab, a weak leader who won't say no in order to operate. It takes a strong leader to come against this spirit and say, no, you will not operate here. You are not in control. Take your offense and go somewhere else with it. God told Joshua 3 times to be strong and courageous. Why? Because leaders need to be strong and courageous. Because there's going to be plenty of opportunities to be a coward. And that's what Ahab was exhibiting. Cowardice. The fear and intimidation coming through the spirit of Jezebel caused Ahab to back down. Listen, if you have a Jezebel in your midst, you need to be strong and courageous, because a spirit of Jezebel cannot operate unless there is an Ahab, a weak leader who tolerates it. Leader of your family, your ministry, your church, your business, do not ever tolerate a spirit of Jezebel to operate. If you tolerate it, you become an Ahab. All right, so we're going to look at more traits of Jezebel. So what does Jezebel do? It says she wrote letters in Ahab's name, sealed them with his seal, and sent them to the elders and other leaders of the town where Naboth lived. All right, here's another characteristic of a Jezebel spirit. It often operates behind the veil. Jezebel didn't sign those letters with her own name. She signed King Ahab's name. She used the king's seal. See, many times someone operating with a Jezebel spirit won't be out front where they can be found out quickly. Instead, they influence someone else. They'll have a conversation like, you know what our church needs? We need XYZ ministry. You know, I know the pastor doesn't see it, but we really need this. They get that person all riled up and emboldened. And then that influenced person goes into the pastor's office. If you're the